One of the great applications of a pressure cooker is making certain stocks. Not all stocks, mind you, but duck stock is ideally suited to this method. As with most stocks, there is a light version and a dark version, differentiated by whether or not you roast the bones of the carcass and by the quantity and selection of vegetables and herbs used. This is a light duck stock, and because this is also part one of a Thai duck curry recipe, I've made a few modifications, but the annotations here will explain how to make this a more general purpose duck stock for European cuisine. And we begin with the whole duck. You've got to remove the legs. I'm just going to make this little cut here first, all the way down and across, and we're going to remove the breasts. Find the bone in the middle, put the knife in, and follow it along the bone as close as you can. And you peel it back, you can see you've got this joint here. You're going to have to work the knife around the joint, of course. I'm going slowly to try to show you clearly, and you've got this separation to make here. You've got the wing and the breast. This isn't really a video on butchering poultry. You should already know how to do this at least a little bit anyway. This is a pretty simple operation. You've got another like knuckle here. You're going to follow this around. It's hard to do. The camera blocking my arm. I always hate these kinds of operations videotaping because I can't get my elbow in here where I want to be in order to be able to do this because the tripod blocking my way. Alright. We got one breast off. Now I'll try to reposition this and get the leg here. Hang on. Okay. Just kind of bend this back. You can separate. You can hear the joint crack. Hear it? That's where we're going. Just take the knife and work it around there a little bit. Now we've got a really nice piece here. We'll just repeat the same thing on the other side. And after a few minutes you get a couple of good sized duck legs off of it, which will be, and we've got a couple of breasts we can use for something else. Beautiful, large pieces. Now, as for the rest of this carcass, easiest way to deal with it, poultry shears. You can hack it apart with an axe. You're just going to spray juices all over your kitchen. You need to break it down a little bit, but you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to cut it into little tiny pieces. It'll be fine. The most important part, though, is to get it open like this. See all this dark, almost black tissue in here? This needs to be washed out and rubbed with a paper towel. Get rid of some of this because this will contribute some foul notes to the final stock. You really don't want this. Otherwise, just break it into a few pieces. You cut the wings and load it into the pressure cooker. Now we load the pieces into the pressure cooker. This is the largest piece. It's the rib cage. I'm going to put the skin side down. This is on purpose because it's going to be the hottest down there. And we want the fat to melt out of there and also to protect it from burning. We've got the other large piece here. This also goes to the bottom. It's got a lot of skin on it. We want it to melt. This will cushion, this will guard other pieces from burning, and it'll help render the maximum amount of fat and flavor out of that. And the other pieces we can just kind of layer on top here. Okay, that's fine. Now we add vegetables on top of this. Good. I'm going to add a few mint leaves in here because this is going to have this Thai application. Normally if I was making this stock for French food I wouldn't do that. I'm going to put some thyme in. I'm putting a whole star anise in, again, because it's being used for this Thai recipe. I may or may not put the star anise in, otherwise depends on what the final application is. I do usually put a slice of orange in. You don't have to. I'm putting one clove of garlic. Just crush it here first. Not traditional again, but you know, these days garlic goes in everything. And now we add water. And put the lid on it and begin the cooking. This is what it looks like after an hour and 45 minutes. You'll make the process of straining this much easier on yourself if you use the spider and you remove all the big bones and big pieces first. It's a easier method, and this is especially important if you've got a huge amount of stock you're dealing with. A fast way of dealing with removing the fat is using a fat separating pitcher. If you don't have this, you can refrigerate it overnight and skim it the next morning. Now the next morning we have the stock. It's slightly gelatinized. It's not super solid, but it's thick. Now if you taste this, it'll have almost no taste at all because it has no salt in it. Do an experiment. Take a little bit of this out, put it in a bowl, add a tiny dash of salt, stir it around, taste it. You'll see the difference. Do this as an experiment. This will teach you the importance of salt as a seasoning in food. Almost no flavor, amazingly strong flavor. Still tastes like duck, even though salt is what you added. Now, since we don't need all of it for this Thai recipe, what I've done is I've taken some of this gelatinized, semi-gelatinized stock, and I'm going to reduce it slowly on the stove to show you how you would finish it off normally. Don't let it boil vigorously. Keep it at a low, slow simmer. And once during the process, use a skimmer and remove the film that forms on the top. But only do this one time. When you think that you've reduced it enough, you can put it on a scale and check it. This is actually just about right. It's been reduced by half. So we're going to cool it down now. And it's important to cool it down fairly quickly at this point so that it doesn't stay in the danger zone very long. So I'm putting it in a bowl of ice for just a little bit here. After 20 or 30 minutes, when this is cooled down, you're going to pass this through a sieve. There's some residue here in a little bit. It's best left behind. And this goes in the refrigerator. This will solidify into the jelly-like stock. And then after a little while, it solidifies. Scrape it out to show you what it looks like here. If you like my videos, look for my cookbook, now available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other internet bookseller sites. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.